He was supposed to be dead, gone for 10 years, buried in the wilds of Africa. But then, just when London thought it had forgotten him, he came back. His name? James Delaney, the last man you'd ever want to cross. His return wasn't about family or love. It was about one thing: power. The kind of power that could shift the balance between Britain and America. The kind of power people kill for.
I have work to do.
It all started with a funeral. James showed up out of nowhere, silent, intense, and draped in black. While others mourned, he whispered strange words in a foreign tongue and smeared powder on his face. People were confused. Some were scared, but no one dared question him. At the ceremony, a woman watched from a distance. She was beautiful, sharp-eyed, and she wasn't just anyone. She was James's half-sister. Just the day before, she'd been seen as the sole heir to their late father's estate. Her husband had even struck a deal with the East India Company to sell a piece of land the family owned. But now that James was back, everything changed. According to British law, the son inherited first, which meant he now owned that land. And that land, called Nootka Sound, was more than just dirt. It was the key to trade routes, empire dreams, and war strategy. Everyone wanted it. Britain, America, the East India Company. And now James had it. After the funeral, James went to see his father's lawyer. That's where he got the full picture. Nootka Sound wasn't just valuable, it was a ticking time bomb. Every major player wanted it. And now that James held the key, he had a target on his back. That night, James returned to his father's old house. There, he reunited with the only person he could still trust, a loyal servant who raised him.
But what the hell are you doing here?
No, there will be no pardon for you, because you are the captain of the mutineers.
James confessed that Nootka Sound wasn't just an inheritance, it was a curse. But it was his curse now. The next day, he visited one of his father's old offices. Except it wasn't an office anymore. It was a brothel, run by a woman with attitude and teeth. When James told her he was taking the place back, she didn't flinch. "I've got girls," she said, "and men."
I have girls, but I also have men.
They fight for hearts. You got one of those? James just smiled. Nope, no heart here. Later, James was summoned by the East India Company. Their rep, a cold man named Stewart, offered to buy the land. James flat out refused. Stewart, annoyed, barked at him to read a letter. James ignored him and walked out. You sure don't tell Delaney what to do. That same night, James hired gravediggers, dug up his father, called in a doctor. He wanted to know the truth behind the old man's death. Turns out it wasn't natural. He'd been poisoned, fast and hard. James didn't take that lightly. He paid the doctor with silver coins and told him to rebury the body. But before he left, James made one thing clear. If he used this corpse for anything else, James will find him. And of course, kill him.
I know things about the dead.
Yeah, he meant it. Soon after, James went to pay off his father's debts, every last penny. While he was doing that, a woman approached him. Pale skin, beautiful. She claimed to be his father's widow.
And I have proof that I am his widow.
That meant she was James's stepmother, even though they'd never met. She had legal papers to prove the marriage, and that could complicate things. If the papers were real, she'd be entitled to half of everything, including Nootka Sound. The East India Company, who were watching everything, saw a new opportunity. If this mysterious woman could take James to court and win, they might still get their hands on the land. But the courts weren't guaranteed. She'd need to file a lawsuit and hope for the best. And with James now in the picture, that wasn't going to be easy. Soon after, James realized his white horse had been stolen. The thief left a note and a name. James knew it instantly. Atticus, the most feared executioner in all of London. Then Atticus himself showed up. He wasn't there to kill James. Not this time. He had a message. Someone had paid to have James's father murdered. The two struck a deal. Atticus, the killer for hire, was now working for James Delaney. One night, a young girl found James and warned him that a man named Silver Fang was planning to kill him. James followed her to a docked ship. When he didn't find the man there, he set the ship on fire anyway, just to send a message. Later, James confronted an American doctor who was secretly a spy. James told him he wanted to talk directly with the President of the United States. But the doctor didn't trust him and pointed a gun in his face.
Get out.
Even James knew when to back off. The next few days were chaos. More attempts on his life. More secrets uncovered. The East India Company, the Americans, the British Crown, they were all circling like vultures. And then things exploded. James found out that Silver Fang was already dead and that he'd been set up. He paid a visit to the American doctor again. The doc wanted to buy the land. James refused. So the doc tried to torture him into giving it up. Big mistake. You can't break James Delaney. Back at his estate, James wrote a will. It stated that if he were to die, Nootka Sound would automatically go to the United States. Now everyone had a reason to keep him alive. But the royal family wasn't having it. They hatched a plan to kidnap James's stepmother and force her to hand over the land. They used a fake fan and a duke with bad manners to trap her. But James wasn't sitting idle. He warned the East India Company. He used their rivalry with the crown to save his stepmother. And it worked. From that day on, she stopped fighting him and joined his side. They weren't just family now. They were allies. At a high society ball, James came face to face with his half-sister's husband. The man hated James for taking away her inheritance. He challenged him to a duel.
I challenge James Delaney to a duel.
James didn't flinch. Meanwhile, with war looming, James started producing gunpowder, illegally. He used bird droppings, cow dung, and even urine from brothel workers. With American and British agents hunting him down, James decided it was time to leave England. But he needed safe passage. The Americans promised him help, but only if he delivered the gunpowder in 8 days. And so began the final race. He stirred, brewed, and loaded the gunpowder, used rumors of disease to sneak it past guards, and just when he thought he'd made it, betrayal. Someone ratted him out. He was arrested, tortured, but he stayed silent. Then he made his final move. He demanded a meeting with Stuart from the East India Company. He threatened to expose Stuart's role in a past slave ship disaster.
How many company boys did you send to crew your private ships?
If the world found out, Stuart was done. It worked. Stuart dropped all charges and released him. But the betrayal wasn't over. The Americans, too, tried to double-cross him. So James launched a war of his own. Explosions rocked the docks. The British sent their elite soldiers, but James and his crew fought back, tooth and nail. Even George, the farting chemist, picked up a weapon. In the end, James made it to the ship. Bleeding, bruised, but unbroken. And just as he sailed off into the darkness, a man who tried to play both sides, Barton, got a message from the grave. James Delaney always plays the long game. And he never forgets. What did you think of James Delaney's wild return and his war against an empire? Let me know in the comments below. If you love intense power moves, betrayal, and gritty characters, hit that like button, subscribe, and I'll see you in the next story.